Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's video going to be a post-match review of Celtic's 3-0 win against Hibs yesterday afternoon. Not the most convincing of wins. Win relying heavily on some brilliant work from Kasper Schmeichel in Celtic's goal with 9 saves, and relying on a few moments of individual great skill and good teamwork to get us the 3 goals. But not really a particularly vintage performance by Celtic for much of the game, particularly in the left side of defence. Today's video, going to have a wee look at the goals and the key incidents, the stats for the game, and my own personal ratings for the game as well. And apologies if my voice sounds a wee bit gruff and there's sniffs and snuffles and so on, but I'm fighting off a bit of a cold at the moment, and so apologies if there's any coughs and sniffs and snuffles and sneezes in the video. In the end, Celtic won nice and comfortably 3-0 over Hibs. Wasn't the most, as I said, vintage performance, but it is a win that puts us 9 points clear of Aberdeen with a game in hand. They only managed to draw with St Johnstone and will keep us at least 11 points clear of our cross-city rivals, who are playing currently against Ross County, and keeps us on good winning form. It looks like we've got through the game without any new injuries, and so we will in essence have a full in-form, fit squad for the games against Zagreb and hopefully the Rangers League Cup final a week today. Hibs got off to a good start. Kasper Schmeichel within the first couple of minutes was making a great save, as was a recurring theme throughout the whole game. Greg Taylor and Liam Scales on the left side of defence, badly out of position, not really linking up together or linking up with Johnson and Trusty inside. A few times Austin Trusty had to frantically rush across to try and cover in behind Liam Scales, who was frequently out of position. Now, this may well be the fact that because Scales isn't playing week in, week out any longer and has had less games to develop a partnership with Austin Trusty, it may simply be that's the reason that Scales so often was out of position and leaving Celtic very open at the back on the left-hand side. Also, I think, as I've said before, I don't think Greg Taylor's a particularly good defensive left-back, and so his lack of pace and strength and ability in the air can quite often be a factor in players and teams getting in behind us, especially if the left centre-back isn't doing his job, as was the case so often yesterday. However, Kasper Schmeichel saved us. Celtic got up the other end in the 6th minute. Nice interchange between Nicholas Kuhn and Alan Johnson. Great ball across the 6-yard box with both Engels and Adam Ida there to tap it away. And Engels got there first and neatly popped Celtic into an early 1-0 lead. Celtic had another couple of good chances to score. Luke McCowan grazed the bar with one of the few good things he did in the game. And Hibs got a couple of more great chances to score. Newell blazed the ball over the bar from around the penalty spot. And the Hibs Ukrainian centre forward a couple of times got through one-on-one with Kasper Schmeichel, but happily Kasper Schmeichel managed to make the save both times. At half-time, James Forrest came off to replace Nicholas Kuhn. Thought possibly this was due to injury, although Roger says this was primarily because Nicholas Kuhn wasn't doing a good enough job tackling back and filling in the space on the right-hand side, and so James Forrest was sent on in his place and for the most part did a good job in the second half. Celtic got their second goal. Nice corner from Luke McCowan, head flicked by Adam Ida, and Joe Newell, the Hibs captain, on the 6-yard box, knocked the ball into his own goal in the 54th minute. The header from Adam Ida was missing the goal quite clearly, and so this goes down as a Joe Newell own goal, 54th minute. Celtic made a few changes with players like Hatate, Paolo Bernardo, Yang coming on, and Kyogo came on for Adam Ida, who had an okay game without being particularly on form. And a lovely finish by Kyogo, controlled the pass through by James Forrest, which was slightly behind Kyogo, not in the ideal position for him to take. However, Kyogo very cleverly took the ball, knocked it in front of them, and then drew the goalkeeper, and then a beautiful chipped finish, giving us the 3-0 win in the 84th minute. No real other moments of controversy. I think it was a game that pretty much went smoothly for Celtic. As I said, no new injuries, 3 points towards the title, and our lead expanding to 9 points with a game in hand over Aberdeen, plus at least 11 points ahead of Rangers. The stats for the game again show that despite Hibs' good attacking play and good defensive play, Celtic were the dominant side. Possession was 75-25. Shots were 21-14 in Celtic's favour, with 11 on targets for Celtic, 9 on targets for Hibs. So Celtic certainly giving our opponents more chances than usual. 5 off targets by Celtic, 4 by Hibs, 1 block shot for Hibs and 5 block shots for us. 9 saves for Kasper Schmeichel to make, which is the highest he's had, to the best of my knowledge, this year in Scotland, and 8 saves for Smith in the Hibs goal to make. And touches in the box, again showing that although Hibs didn't have as much of the ball as we did, they did get the ball forward nicely and did put Celtic under pressure defensively, largely, as I said, due to Taylor and Scales being well below par yesterday. Touching the box, 44 Celtic, 32 to Hibs, and corners were 14-7 in favour of Celtic. So a game in which Celtic had most of the ball and had a lot more of the attacking play. But when Hibs did get the ball, they did get the ball forward well. They put Celtic under pressure, making Kasper Schmeichel make 9 saves and getting the ball in and around Celtic's box, probably more than any other Scottish team has so far this season. My own personal ratings for the players: Kasper Schmeichel, 9 and man of the match. Don't think there was anybody else really who could rival him for man of the match yesterday. Some good saves, some great saves, and he did his usual job of keeping attacks going, sweeper keeper role, and I do hope that Celtic do exercise their 1-year extension option, which appears to be at the club's control rather than Kasper Schmeichel's control, although I'm sure there's negotiation. And I would be absolutely delighted if Celtic, rather than simply giving him a 1-year extension, look to give him a 3-year contract, as even though he is into his late 30s, I think much like Craig Gordon and many other goalkeepers, he could keep goalkeeping at the highest level for many, many years to come. And I think he has been one of the major keys to Celtic's success this season. So 9 for Kasper Schmeichel, 7 for Alza Johnston. I think he did a fine job defending on our right side. Hibs rarely really troubled us down his side of the pitch. And at times he and Trusty covered across well to cope with the mistakes and errors that Scales and Taylor committed throughout the game. Given 7 for Orson Trusty, so many times he had to cover across from the right in behind to mop up the balls getting past Liam Scales. He was the one so often who was chasing back the players that Taylor and Scales let through. And so a wee bit more of a frantic game by Austin Trusty, and he was the one who often was the one mopping up the errors. So I think he deserved a 7, although a few other pundits and rating sites, etc., gave him a wee bit lower. I've given 5.5 for both Liam Scales and for Greg Taylor. I thought they were both very poor. I think they're both a bit of a defensive liability on the left-hand side, particularly if they're in the same team together, especially also because they have both been in and out the team just recently. And I would not be too surprised if for the Zagreb game, Alex Valley comes back in at left back, and I'm 100% certain it's going to be Trusty and Carter Vickers in the middle on Tuesday in Zagreb. Callum McGregor and Arnie Engels both 7. Callum McGregor had a fairly quiet game, however, did lots of good things for Celtic, kept Celtic going, led the team very well, some nice passes. Not the same threat in the final third as he has been so often this season, but did a good Callum McGregor style performance in that number 6 role. Arnie Engels, nice to see him back in good form, scored the first goal, had a couple of shots at goal, could easily have added a second or third goal. Nice to see him getting into the box more often than he has in the last few games, but nice to see Engels getting into the box more, scored a goal, got himself involved in a wee bit of a nasty challenge in midfield, got a yellow card. There was a vague thought that it could be a red card, although I'm not sure how it could be a red card when it clearly was a yellow card at most. And I'm pretty sure that Arne Engels now will be the starter on Tuesday, along with Hitati and McGregor. Given 6.5 for Nicholas Kuhn, he played just a half. He wasn't really on top form. However, a couple of nice passes. He was part of the first goal, setting up Johnson to set up Engels, and he had a lovely chipped pass into the box over the top for Adam Ida, who couldn't quite coordinate his finish to give Celtic a 2-0 lead. It came off at the second for the start of the second half, thought to be a tactical defensive substitution, but doesn't appear that he's injured, so I'll fully expect to see him starting on the right on Tuesday against Zagreb. Dyson Maida, again, very disappointing. Not sure whether it's just simply a loss of form, whether it's a loss of confidence, whether it's a fitness issue, tiredness, fatigue, etc. But Dyson Maida, again, wasn't really at his best. Still think he'll get the start on Tuesday and next Sunday. And I gave 6.5 for Adam Ida. He got himself nicely into the box. Was there to score the first goal if Engels hadn't got there first. And, as I said, had another couple of chances in the box. Led the line quite nicely without being quite as much a threat as he was on Wednesday against Aberdeen. So 6.5 for him. And I've given 7.5 for Kyogo. Came on the last half hour or so, looked very fresh, worked back nicely to press the Hibs defenders, and his third goal that clinched the victory was an excellent piece of skill, controlling the ball, getting it out from underneath his feet, out in front of him, dummied the goalkeeper to make the goalkeeper dive early, and then flicked it over him. Brilliant finish for 3-0. James Forrest, I think, worked hard down his side. A couple of times he did beat his opponent to get the ball in. He worked his way inside nicely to set up Kyogo for the third goal and did do better than Kuhn in terms of defensive things, and so 7 for him. And I've gone 6 for Yang. Didn't really do terribly much in the game, in the time that he was on. Didn't really make any mistakes, but nor did he make any real proper breaks or create chances or shots. Similarly for Paulo Bernardo, much the same analysis. Didn't make any errors, didn't play badly, but didn't quite reach the heights as he has in previous games. And 6.5 for Rio Hitati. Came on late in the game. A couple of nice passes. Was part of the setup for the third goal, and did look a wee bit more attacking than Luke McCowan and Paulo Bernardo had done. And Luke McCowan, I think I forgot to give the rating earlier on, 6.5 for him. Apart from his shot that clipped the bar. Wasn't really anywhere near the form he showed last Saturday against Ross County. Wee bit similar to his slightly disappointing performance against Aberdeen in the midweek. And for that reason, I would expect Paulo Bernardo and Luke McCowan to be on the bench. Looking at the Celtic news sites and general football news sites this morning, doesn't appear to be any real news around Celtic. Brendan Rodgers apparently saying he's very keen to get Greg Taylor signed up for longer. Mention of the fact that Celtic have the option to sign Kasper Schmeichel on a 1 year extension. And as I said earlier on, I do hope that gets increased to give him a 2 or 3 year extension rather than just simply 1 year. And again, ongoing speculation that several English Premier League clubs in the lower half of that league are looking at signing Nicholas Kuhn in the winter transfer break. Teams such as Brentford, Brighton, Crystal Palace, Leicester, pretty much all the teams who are slightly struggling for things at the moment are said to be in for Nicholas Kuhn, although, as I said earlier on in previous videos, it does look like Kuhn isn't looking to move away from Celtic in the short term and wants to be at Celtic in the medium to long term, i.e. for another 2 or 3 years. But again, we'll see how that develops in the month of January. That finishes things off for today's video. Couple of wee other videos currently in the pipeline, and with us having a Champions League game on Tuesday, obviously we'll be doing a pre-match preview of that Zagreb match at the start of this week, probably on Tuesday morning. Just a wee polite suggestion, reminder, encouragement. If you are new to the channel, please do click that subscribe button. If you like the video, please do click the like button and do pop your pleasant, polite thoughts, comments, etc. in the comment section regarding yesterday's game, the performances, your own personal ratings, and how you see the team lining up for Tuesday and Sunday against Zagreb and then against Rangers. And so until the next time, goodbye and hail, hail.